Hey everyone, in this video we'll build a simple and useful project, YouTube Thumbnail Downloader. You'll enter a link to the video and it will extract its thumbnail and let you download it. Whether you're just starting out and learning JavaScript, this project is perfect for you. My name is Vladislav, I'm a front-end developer. Welcome to my channel and let's get started. Now we start from the very beginning. Here inside our projects folder, create a new project folder, call it YouTube Thumbnail Extractor. And you need to open it up inside the VS Code. Here we won't use any fancy frameworks or libraries. Let's just add an index.html file. Next, by typing the exclamation mark and then press tab key, with the emmet we expand the basic HTML structure. Then I hit tab twice and find a document title, YouTube Thumbnail Downloader. Hit save and let's open it in the browser. I'll use the extension, call it Live Server. So let's find it, and actually I need just to enable it, but if you're not installed it yet, I urgently recommend you because it supports live updates and we can see our application inside the browser. Now once you installed it, just right click and choose open with Five server or Live server. And it is a blank page because our body element has no text. But we actually see our document title here. Let's find a favicon by looking for a YouTube logo. SVG file. Let's choose this logo icon. Download and place it inside our project folder. Let's name it YouTube logo. Then we can close it, and here let's add a favicon with the link tag. Here we say it's icon and choose YouTube logo. Hit save and we see our favicon is added to our application. Now let's create two more files here. It's obviously style.css and script.js. Now let's start adding elements to our body element. We'll start with the div with the container class. And here first we'll add an h1 tag with an application name, YouTube Thumbnail Downloader. And before the tags we can add the logo with the source tag with our logo, and we can also add an alt text. Hit save, and inside the CSS, first let's bypass some default styling for the browser. We set margin to 0, padding to 0, and box sizing to border box. And next let's define the font family to sans serif and make a background color to the black color, and the text color will be white. And next, for the container element, we'll limit the width with the max width property and set to 600 pixels. Margin 0 auto. With the padding 1.25 rems. With the display flags. And so let's actually connect the styles with the link. Like this, as we've just connected our CSS file. Let's continue adding styles with display flags, flags direction column, align item center, and gap to 1 rem, and height equal to 100 viewport height to fill the actual viewport. Now let's make our YouTube icon smaller by accessing it in CSS with container h1 tag, image, width to 3 rems, and height to 2 rems, and object fit to contain to preserve the aspect ratio of the image. And then let's style the h1 tag itself. We'll set font size 2 rems and vertically align the icon with the text, with display effects and align item center. Now let's add a spacing between the text and icon with gap 2.5 rems. Yes, we've done with the title. Next, let's go back to index.html file, and here below the h1 tag add an input with type text by default. We'll define an ID to URL, and here will be a placeholder with the text suggesting enter YouTube video URL. Now inside style CSS file, let's style this input by accessing it via input selector. Let's remove the borders, remove the outline, and say we want it to fill the actual width of the container. And also I want padding equal to 1 rem and border radius to 0.5 rems. So yeah, it looks good. And next we'll actually have a thumbnail container. Where we'll have an image tag that will display the thumbnail itself. For now, the source tag is empty. The alt tag, we can just say it's thumbnail. And the ID will be thumbnail. We'll use it later inside our JavaScript to access this image element. And a button with the ID. We can use emmet to define the ID in this way. Download thumbnail. And the text itself. Hit save, and it is okay because we've not defined it in a source tag, and it will be hidden later, the hidden attribute. We'll add it later after we will style this block. Now let's go to style CSS and define the styles for the thumbnail container. It should fill the container width. Next, the thumbnail container image should also fill the container width. And because it's an YouTube thumbnail, the aspect ratio should match the 16:9 resolution, and define a display block. And if we check this element, you see that it matches the style, so we just define it. And the download thumbnail button is displayed below the image tag because our image tag is set to display block. Now let's style the button. And the button, I would like the button to receive some styles from the input tag. And I mean these two styles. So let's cut it from there and define it with input, comma, button. So these two lines will be applied to both input and the button itself. And let's add a few more styles to the button via thumbnail container button. I would like it to have margin top 1 rem and also border none. I will move it there. A cursor pointer, so when we hover over the button, it should change the cursor type. And when I hover over the button, it should color it to white color. So button hover, background color, and also we can add a transition to make it smoother. So we've done with the styles, and let's hide this thumbnail container element just for now. And we can hide it via hidden attribute. When I hit save, this block is just hidden. Next, inside the HTML file, let's connect our scripts inside the head element and Here we need to provide the source attribute that should match our script file. Let's start building the logic itself. Here, first let's make sure we've actually waiting for the DOM elements to load by typing document add event listener. Here we say DOM content loaded. Any script inside it will run only when our DOM elements are loaded. And then inside the callback function, we'll have all the application's logic. Here we need to select our main HTML elements. The first one will be URL input. And we select it via document get element by ID URL. Next we select the thumbnail container, which is hidden for now. Via document query selector, or you can use get element by class name, whatever you want. I will use query selector, as well as you can use here query selector, thumbnail container, dot thumbnail container. Next, select the thumbnail image via thumbnail container, query selector, image element, and the download button, download thumbnail button, thumbnail container, query selector, button element. Now inside the console, I can console log each of these elements to see if we've actually selected these elements. And as you see, everything is working as expected, and we see our elements inside our DOM here in the console. By the way, I did quick console logs for each of these variable, and I did it via the keyboard shortcut Command-Shift-L, or on Windows Control-Shift-L. And it works by the extension called Quick Console. Also install it. And with this keyboard shortcut, you can just select any variable and press, as I said, Command-Shift-L, and it will log any variable you've selected. Next, I want to extract the thumbnail each time I pass any URL or any text inside this field. We can achieve it by accessing the URL input and adding an event listener with the event called input. So this event will fire anytime you type any characters inside this field. And I will define a separate function that will be executed when this event fires. And I will call it handle URL input. And let's define it above. Handle URL input. And here we can access the actual URL with the URL input value. And let's also console log to see if it's working. I type anything inside and the actual text of this input is logged into the console. Okay, now whenever I type a URL, I want to actually extract the thumbnail. The actual URL where YouTube stores the thumbnails is this string, image.youtube.com, any path names, and the file name is maxres_default. And here we need to pass a video ID. The video ID comes from the YouTube video URL. Let's open up the YouTube video, and inside the video URL, the actual video ID is this text. It is a value of the v search param in this URL. So in the full URL, this is what we need to extract from the URL. In the short videos, this is the last element inside the path name. Inside the shortened URL, it is the first path segment in the URL. Therefore, let's create a separate function that will extract the video ID from the URL from this field. Let's call it get YouTube video ID. It receives a URL string, and we'll call this function inside the handle URL input function. But first, if no input, if the input is empty, we've just return. And if the URL is not empty, like in this case, I do call a video ID variable and call this get YouTube video ID function. And pass our URL. And let's console log the video URL and remove this. To get the actual video ID from the URL, I will use a URL object. It is defined via new URL, and we need to pass the URL string. If you don't know anything about a new URL, it is a super useful feature. I use it very often in my job, and you can read it about more in MDN. Here you see a lot of properties and methods. I definitely recommend you to check it out. Let's just console log the URL here, and I will show you how it works. If I type any URL here, the actual URL objects that we've defined here consist of many useful properties. Let's first check if the link we've provided is a YouTube video link. So we can make it via URL hostname, which is this property. Hostname includes youtube.com. And we can leave a comment here, handle youtube.com. And if so, we just return what inside the v search param, which is this string. So via url.searchParams get method, we're getting the value of the v search param. So let's test if it works. I'll copy this URL and paste it here. And as you see, we've just get the valid video ID. Now let's test a shortened URL. Click copy here and paste inside the input tag. And we see the video ID is undefined. Let's handle this case as well. I will leave a comment like handle u2b. Here we handle the case if URL hostname equals to u2b. And if so, we need to return the path name, but remove the leading slash via slice and put one number. So without this slice, it will have a leading slash, but we don't want this slash. We just want this text without slash. Let's check if it works. I will copy once more this URL and paste it here. And we've successfully extracted the video ID from the shortened URL. Next, let's check what we have for the shorts URL. So if I paste the URL, it doesn't work yet. Let's handle shorts. The first we check if the host name includes youtube.com. And the path name should include shorts. As you've seen, the path name really should include the shorts word. And if so, what we do here? Return the actual path name. We split by the slash symbol. Let's look at the path name. We split it by this slash and return the third element of this string, which is this element. Because the first one will be an empty string, the second one will be shorts, and the third one is a video ID that we need. So we return the third element. Let's try once more. I copy this URL and paste it here. And something is wrong here. Let's check what is not working. The path name is not defined because it should be url.pathname. Once more, and the video ID is here. So our get YouTube video ID function is working, and let's continue with the handle URL input function. And let's handle the last case inside this function. If I type any non-URL string here, we receive an error that the URL constructor fires whenever you pass a non-URL string inside this constructor. So let's wrap the whole logic here inside the try-catch block. as the last statement, we just return null and return null here. Let's type anything. And as you see, no errors inside the console. And the video ID just equals to null. Great. Let's continue with the handle URL input function here. First, we check if the user is passed a valid YouTube video link via if video ID. Then, for the thumbnail image, we define its source attribute and set it to this URL I left here and pass the video ID inside it. Next, we need to show the thumbnail container. Thumbnail container hidden false. Let's save it and again copy the URL and paste it, and boom, you see the thumbnail. That is what we are getting from this URL. And this download thumbnail button should open this image inside a new tab later. But look, if I remove the URL, I should hide this block, and we can achieve it with an easy logic inside the else statement here, with just removing the source attribute, setting to an empty string, and thumbnail container hidden true. Now, if I remove anything from it, it didn't hide the container because here the return statement fires. So let's remove the source attribute and hide the container here as well. But this else statement will work in cases when the user is typed any invalid URL here. Like in this example, the thumbnail container is hidden. And again, if I type a video URL, and then type anything like this, the thumbnail container is hidden. Now for the download button, let's define an event listener. On click, handle download, and define the function above. We cannot directly download the thumbnail file because the file is located in a different origin, but this button will just open the image in a new tab, in a full screen. Here, first we need to get the actual thumbnail URL, with the thumbnail URL that equals to thumbnail image source attribute. And first, if no thumbnail URL, we just return and don't execute our function and don't execute the code below. And here's a trick to actually download anything. We define an anchor element with the document create element. Define its href tag equals to thumbnail URL. Define a download attribute. Let's call it thumbnail JPEG, and imitate a click on this element. Even if this element is hidden, we've not adding this element to the DOM. We imitate a click via click method, and then just remove this element. Let's fix the brackets. Let's paste the URL once more, click download, and as you see, the thumbnail is opened on the full screen and you can save this URL. Let's go back. And to actually open it up in the new tab, we can define a target attribute underscore blank. And now it is opening in a new tab. Let's close it, and the last element that we will add is a kind of a helper validation text for our main input element that will inform the user that the URL is not a valid YouTube link. Like if I type any text here, I want to display a helper text here that says that this URL is not a valid YouTube link. Inside the HTML file, let's add a span element with an ID error. and text, enter a valid YouTube URL. Hit tab, and the text is displayed below the input tag. And let's make this text hidden by default. And inside the script, each time our logic detects that this URL is not valid, we show this element and hide otherwise. So here let's select this element, error element, document, query selector, ID error, and here, if no URL, we set hidden to true, and if the video URL is found, then we say error element hidden false. We hide this text, else we also hide the error text. And let's test if it works. I type anything wrong. It doesn't work yet. Let's see. Oh, we actually need to flip these values. It's hidden if we typed a valid URL, and we should show the helper text if the URL is wrong. If I remove the text, we hide this helper text, and if I paste the valid YouTube link, it should also hide this error message. And that's it, you've just built your own YouTube thumbnail downloader. Feel free to put this project inside your portfolio and customize it whatever you want. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this tutorial and subscribe if you want more beginner-friendly content. See you soon!